3, 2, and the stream begins.
The stream begins again.
Well, actually, since it's only a photo for them, this is probably pretty good for them.
Yeah, this is probably pretty solid.
Because they don't need to know that all the cameras exploded. Because right now, it's just a photo and microphones.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
See, they don't need to know all the cool background information that's happening behind the scenes. Because right now, it's good. It's just audio and talking.
Yes.
For Danny M, Danny Boy, and David Rodriguez.
Ooh,
really appreciate
the 3 Ds.
The triple Ds.
The triple Ds.
For D's nuts. There's a good meme for you. All right, and now we're recording. And I think it's time to do the transition in uno, dos, tres.
Boom.
Hello. Yes. No, your cameras blew up this time, not ours.
Yeah.
You can't tell. You can't put that.
There's no way to know.
You can't put that evil devil stuff on us.
No.
There it is. There's the classic trademark bad. Was it as soon as we transitioned to anything that wasn't a photo? Cool. Well, hey guys, the stream's been
there's just been a lot of problems. There's been so many problems, and we're trying to fix them because most of all, we love you guys, and we want to give you the best product possible, and we're working on it.
And sometimes the universe just doesn't want you to win. And guess what you say? You turn and you look at the universe straight in the face, and you say, universe, I'm gonna succeed. Screw you and your damn Chevy and your dumb mustache.
Universe.
Universe.
Non-specific universe. All right. All right.
Love you, universe.
Are you ready to start this one?
I mean, as best as we can.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Let's Talk Comics. It's a show where we let talk comics with all the comic book fans out there. You guys have been craving to know what kind of comics you should be hopping into. You're like, Sam, DJ, please tell me, please.
Man, at least once a week I get a tweet. It's like, hey, do you have any recommendations?
I just saw Deadpool 2. What should I read? I got a hint for you. It's probably Deadpool.
Yeah.
You should probably check out Deadpool. It probably is good. And so this is the show where we talk about all the newest releases from Marvel, DC, and all the indie publishers out there. We give you guys our recommendations, our little reviews, and you let us know what you think.
Yes.
I'm very excited. Let's kick it off with... Well, actually, I like to go off of what you have pulled from your poll list.
Right.
Because I ingest more comics than you. I just kind of suck them up like a little garbage disposal that I am.
So where do we want to begin?
Let's start with Marvel because
Marvel.
It's been rough this morning. So let's start with something fun.
The only Marvel book I picked up this week was Cosmic Ghost Rider because of course I did.
This is continuing the story of Cosmic Ghost Rider, aka Frank Castle,
aka Spirit of Vengeance, aka Herald of Galactus, aka Thanos' right-hand dude,
aka maybe Thanos' adoptive papa in this story, and we're continuing that story. There's only one more issue after this one.
Yes.
Which is a bummer. What'd you think?
I enjoyed this issue quite a bit. This is still one of my favorite books on the stands. I will say this wasn't, I didn't love this issue as much as I loved previous issues.
No, they were all so good.
Yeah, and it starts off really strong because it starts really, the last 3 issues have really coasted on like crazy over-the-top shenanigans, which has been so much fun. And this one really tries to dive into the psychology of Frank and what he's trying to do and what the merits are of trying to be better. But it takes one too many turns, like loops in on itself to the point where I become legitimately confused of what it's trying to accomplish. Excuse me. And at that point, I was like, all right, so this is still a ton of fun, but it's not like the best issue of the series.
I enjoyed some of the twists and turns it took, but you're right that like sometimes when you think about it, you're like, don't.
Yeah, like
don't
what's
think about
even
it.
happening right now. Yeah. And more importantly, like what point are we trying to get to? You know what I mean?
That a Punisher might be a bad dad after he becomes the Punisher. That's what I got from it.
Hey, you know what? If we learned anything from the Netflix show, Punisher might have been a bad dad before he was the Punisher.
That was an interesting turn that they chose to do with that show. And in this, it's cool to see how this is going to wrap up. And actually, there's some emotional stakes now.
Yes.
For that Thanos and the Punisher actually have an emotional relationship.
Yeah.
That I bought. I did buy it. I don't know what it all means, but I bought it.
Yeah, same.
And also, I don't know what world they're on, but it's awful.
Yeah.
It's except for one person.
Except for literally, one house.
One house is okay. I really enjoyed. I did enjoy the book. Still,
Yes,
it's just
same.
not the best out of the series. I
think they just announced that he's officially going to be part of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
The new one, and this kind of cements that like all timeline stuff. This is kind of happening in its own little world.
Well, this particular issue, yes. Yeah, whatever future he created here.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
And so other Marvel stories, I picked up Donny Cates' Death of the Inhumans. And so he's been just plowing through all those characters that they didn't want to work with anymore. So, and then they started killing off main characters. So you're like, oh, this is impossible. Anything is permanent. And there's one of the cool things they started introducing, and it's not like the most original thing, but I like the reveal of it, is that they have this character named Vox. It's the main villain. He can kind of do a lot of different abilities, and that's why he's so powerful. Yeah. But they've kind of established that Vox isn't a person. It's nothing. It's not a creature. It's like a program, basically.
Interesting.
And they haven't been killing any of the main cast off. They have been like slaughtering the Z-listers that you don't give a shit about. But anyone that's had like even a minor miniseries, they're good. Don't worry, they're safe. They've basically been teleported off to another facility where they've been putting these Vox suits on them to go back and kill the rest of the Inhumans, which is a fun story. But you find that out by them bringing one of the. They didn't even know there were multiple. They thought there was just one. They bring Vox back, and Gorgon. That's the one with the horse legs.
Yes, because of course it is.
It is. He like stomps on his face, and you realize Maximus is in there, and you thought Maximus was killed with Lockjaw, and you realize now like all the abilities you've seen are the ones from the royal family, which is really cool. And Crystal also gets captured, and she immediately gets like brutally tortured, and you're like, oh my god, it's still sad, and it's still like a cop out that's like, don't worry, they're all still there. Don't worry, you'll get them back. But it's still cool. It's still very well written, but it's similar.
I'm surprised it's not just directly like killing off all the Inhumans that we created when we tried to make the Inhumans the X-Men, but all the original family fine.
And then like some of the new ones, like just enough to make the family a little bit big. After 60 years,
there's that one that's in the cartoon. He's safe.
Yeah, he's pretty. He's safe. And there's that one that looks kind of like a lizard lady. That one.
Sure.
Yeah. You know, like, I don't know. I couldn't give you a name.
I honestly don't know any of the new Inhumans.
That you don't have to. You have Flint. Remember?
No. Oh, from the show. Yeah.
I also picked up Champions, and here's a fun. The cover looks awesome.
Yes.
And the premise is some characters get sucked into Weird World. And the way to get over there, they get like, I don't know who gets it, doesn't matter. They get a little portal, but it's not like you get to jump over to their world. It infuses you in the world and gives you a character, so you need to be true to yourself so you can remember who you are once you get there. Obviously, people forget who they are, except for one character.
Yeah, who is it? Ironheart.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, called it.
And Nova's story, and Miles' character is really cool. He's an assassin.
Nice.
He's the like shadow spider or something. Basically, he's like a rogue out there in the woods. And
so it's a D&D episode.
It's D&D.
Nice.
Yeah, 100%.
Nice.
It's really cool though. As Guardians of the Galaxy, did you read the first issue?
No.
So you don't know the premise of the. No. Okay, so it's a team of Asgardians.
Yes.
Pretty fun. But you also get. They find out that throughout all the Ragnaroks and like the different forms of Ragnaroks for other alien religions out there.
Yeah.
The dead bodies of the gods don't just kind of disappear. They kind of went somewhere.
Yeah.
And we find out that Kid Loki created a horn that when you blow it, it brings the army of the dead back. But think of how many Ragnaroks there are and how many gods there are out there. It's an extremely powerful army for you to have, because like how many times has Thor died? Like all those Thors you could use like as an army. And in the second issue, they go to another world where I love the way they think about it, that in this world the gods actually sacrifice themselves to prove themselves to the people that worship them, and they get reborn often, but because of the love that they have for their gods, they kind of picture them as children.
Okay.
And so all of a sudden all these zombie kids show up and start just murdering the entire planet worth of people. I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is super cool.
I'm into this. Kids murdering people, a whole world. I'm into it.
Also, Throg, I forgot, doesn't talk because he's a frog, but he does have like deep philosophical thoughts, and I think that's a cool one. A cool part of the story, and what they're doing with Valkyrie and Thunderstrike is interesting. Right. There's also an Iron Fist comic. They're doing these with the Defenders characters, where it's these digital first comics, but they're two first. You get issue 1 and 2 in one issue. So, and they're full like double length of a normal comic, which is, I think that's what they're trying to sweeten the deal. It's like, and it's the same price as a normal comic.
That's cool.
The Jessica Jones series is written by Kelly Thompson, and that's really good.
Cool.
Luke Cage is dealing with CTE, and now Iron Fist, I picked that up. Wasn't able to read it yet because I didn't get to it. I picked up Sleepwalker, which is a part of Infinity War.
Yeah, Sleepwalker is a character back from the 90s. He's a weird one. He's fun.
Yeah, he's while this man sleeps, his dream persona comes out and saves the day. I picked up Iron Man, Cloak and Dagger, Superior Octopus. I want to talk about that because it's the last.
Yeah, we've got Danny M said he picked up Shatterstar, What If X-Men #1, Death of the Inhumans #4, X-Men Black Magneto. And I haven't read any. Oh, he hasn't read any of them, but he did read Superior Octopus.
Well, here you go the episode. So Spider-Geddon's been really good so far.
Cool.
I think my favorite was the Spider tie-in. That was really cool. And the Uncle Ben and Young Peter Spider-Man, because the art style was really cool. Like, kind of looked like Mike Mignola a little bit.
Nice.
And it was just like, I kind of like the working class like Spider-Man. He became Spider-Man when he's like 70 years old. So he's not like swinging around anywhere, but he's got the strength and the whatever of Spider-Man. And since he's going out with his like nephew, there's like this kind of cool. Also super sad by the end of it. But
of course,
Superior Octopus, he's setting up shop in San Francisco. And I didn't know what body this is. It's a mix between Peter and Doc Ock, so it looks like a new person, but he's got like the youth of Peter, and looks like Doc Ock.
So,
and he's got the arms.
But the issue is good.
Issue's good, and the way they tie it back to the Inheritors. Did you read the Spider-Verse event?
I got a few issues into it, and then I realized I didn't care, so I stopped.
There you go. Yeah. So the Inheritors, like, they could like clone their bodies.
Yes.
So Doc Ock kept that technology so that if he died, he could just kind of pop right back up in his own body. But the Inheritors, they didn't die at the end of the last event. Buckle up, kids. They start using Doc Ock's printer to like reprint bodies and get out of there.
That's why you got to keep track of your printers, kids.
But also you get all the Web Warriors and stuff, and that's interesting.
So,
oops, I opened that one.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Did that issue come out?
That issue came out this week.
Whoops. Because I didn't pick it up.
The Super Sons. Yeah, that came out this week.
Missed it. Anyway,
let me see if there's any other Marvel ones.
So there's a new Superior Spider-Man comic coming, right? Is it supposed to be just Doc Ock as Spider-Man again, but in San Francisco or something?
Oh, I don't know.
Because there's too many fucking Spider-Mans running around the main MCU.
See, we say that, and then they start getting rid of a couple, and then all of a sudden they come back. There's more issues.
I don't. They can be. Peter Parker can be the Spider-Man in that universe, or Miles. Pick one, and then give Miles his own universe.
I think the world is moving a little too fast for this.
I just don't think there's. I just think it makes it less interesting if there's so many. It's not like Green Lantern where it's Spider-Man is Peter Parker or Spider-Man is Miles Morales. You can't have Spider-Man as Miles Morales and Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy. You know what I mean? Like I think I like the way Spider-Verse. I think Miles in particular, because he's the only alt-universe Spider-Man I give a shit about. I think looking at the game and looking at Into the Spider-Verse, it's like either Miles is a kid that's a partner to Peter Parker, or he is the Spider-Man of his own universe.
It's cool how big Miles got, how popular he is, because he's well written and his stories are really interesting. But it's for good reason. He's a good character, and I like what they've done with the character. It does make me wish he
was his own. He wouldn't. And this is this catch-22. He wouldn't have blown up if he wasn't Spider-Man, but I would have rather him be his own character. So we had a new character. Like, that's something I like about Sideways. Is it's a lot of similar characteristics of Spider-Man, but he's his own character. You know what I mean?
And we'll see how long he lasts.
Probably not as long as the one labeled Spider-Man, which I think is kind of stupid.
I'm totally fine with multiple Spider-Mans running around, because more the merrier. Also, times are changing, and here's more just catchphrases you'll see on motivational pillows. Also, it's just because I'm fine with it. It doesn't. I don't think it diminishes anything for me. And also, I'll just if we don't read it, then it'll go away.
I don't.
If we don't look at it, it'll just go away.
Exactly. Don't look at it. It won't.
It won't.
Don't whatever.
Say it. Don't think it.
Don't say it. Don't think it.
That's the bye-bye man.
What we need is more bye-bye man. That's what I'm trying to get at.
So let's go ahead and move on and start talking about D.
Do you want to do indie and then dive into DC, or should we just?
Let's do DC. We'll button it up because I want to button up with that Giant Days because that's a
gotcha. So I read a few DC things. The big one I read that you didn't get a chance to read is Wonder Woman Earth 1 Volume 2.
Wow, you were a big fan of the first one, right?
I am a big fan of the first one. I'm a big fan of this one too. The art is of course amazing, and Grant Morrison of course stuffs it with so many big, crazy, amazing ideas. and new ideas. So like Wonder Woman saves somebody in a primarily Muslim country, and so she gets respecting the culture of that area. She has a bunch of different costumes in this, but she has one that has an outfit that kind of like reflects the region to be more respectful, and the artist had a friend of his with a Muslim background help him design it.
Dope.
And though I will say there's a great take on a classic Wonder Woman villain that I don't give a crap about, but I think they utilize really well here.
Would I recognize them?
Yes. I will say that like a lot of the Earth One comics, it kind of like it starts off like leisurely, and then by the end there's that feeling of like, oh crap, we got to wrap it up, and this ends on a cliffhanger, and it introduces a lot of big complicated ideas and a lot of ways of challenging its take of Wonder Woman from the first comic, that I think if you're gonna like throw some of those thoughts out there, you need to be ready to button them up in the same story. So I didn't think it felt as complete. Well, I mean, it couldn't feel, it's a cliffhanger, it's not as complete as volume 1, but it's still well worth a read and well worth picking up. Yeah. If for no reason, the art and
do you
Grant
think they get like a page cap? It's like
Yes.
you can only do really.
Yes, one I can guarantee that's the case.
That's a bummer,
Yeah.
because it's like if you're doing these special books, like give it a little bit more room to kind of breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, you do need constraints on you. Like they're
Yeah.
like, hey, we can't make this like 700 pages, but it's
Yeah.
like give it a little breathing room so you can actually tell a complete story.
Yeah.
And it bums me out that like, what if they made it the full length? Is it the full length of like a trade? It seems shorter than that.
It's probably slightly shorter, and it's probably just a cost of printing thing, and also deadlines. A lot of the creators on Earth One are not necessarily the speediest creators in the biz, so giving them a little amount page count allows them to like actually come out on a decent amount of time.
Hopefully,
yeah. So. Yeah, I don't know. I'm
picking it up next week, so I'll give my thoughts on it next week. But overall, did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, what else did you pick up?
We got the big. You pulled this in your pull list last week. Wonder Woman Justice League Dark crossover, The Witching Hour. This is the like what they like to do, where there's a standalone one shot that then goes into the crossover between the two comics. Did you read this?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I really, really like how they're getting into like the supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
Did you ever read like when Justice League Dark started?
Yes.
Like, so remember how like creepy they were really trying to make it, like really diving into it. This is a lighter version of that.
Yeah.
But they are actually trying to make it supernatural, which I really like.
I also feel like this is a really good team setup. The characters they have on the team, I think there's a good balance. I think when they originally pitched Justice League Dark, they just threw all of the most popular Magic characters in there, and it was just a weird, like it just didn't gel as a team. If some of them were just way too powerful, and then some of them didn't really like Deadman's a hard character to have a part of a team like that. Like, what is he supposed to do?
Can anyone actually talk to him? Like,
there's complications there. So I think this is actually a really good team mix. The only one that feels kind of like an outlier is Swamp Thing, because he is so powerful. But yeah.
And I like the world building they do with each of the characters. Tynion does a really good job with these characters because he wrote this issue, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I really like the way he writes Swamp Thing and Detective Chimp and Man-Bat. Man-Bat being like a scientist, I think is like such a cool.
Detective Chimp and Man-Bat are the standouts for me.
Oh yeah, but also I like Swamp Thing where it's like, oh, you have all these bodies in here. It's like gotta make mulch. It's faster, and it's like that way it makes it feel more like my home. And also I know you didn't pick up Justice League, right?
I did. I just haven't read it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there's an element of it where they're exploring the Hall of Justice and basically everyone's little corner. So reading this, I read that before I read Justice League. I was like, oh, that's why you included it in here. So you could be like, that's what Swamp Thing does to make him feel more at home. He makes it a bog. he makes it real swampy down there. I really enjoy it, and also I like that they're really diving into like, oh, Wonder Woman possessed, or like there's like cool, or I like the whole scene on Themyscira where it was like them pretending that like these women that are part of a cult aren't a problem, so that she can go sleep like soundly. It's like, no, there's a serious problem. Also, Tracy 13's a really big character, which is cool.
Oh yeah, by the way, deep cut, there's a character, Witchfire.
Yeah, Witchfire.
That's from I believe she was first introduced as part of a group called the Power Company. So that's a real deep cut. That was like
she looks cool.
That was like a 90s comic for DC where they were trying to branch out and stuff. Yeah.
She's cool.
Yeah.
And she murders a lot of people, and it's bad. I mean, she kind of does.
Yeah, it's not really her fault.
Yeah.
Hecate.
Hecate. That's what it is, right? Yeah. And also in the lead-up issues, when you see like how Hecate gets like made, where it's like the witches like merging.
Yeah,
scary. It's gross and scary.
I don't know if I'll these multi-series crossovers can add up quick. So I don't know if I'll pick up the whole thing. I'll probably pick up the next issue. The next part is in Wonder Woman. I'll probably pick that up.
And if it's worth it, you'll stick with it.
Yes.
What else do you pick up?
So on the DC's Vertigo line, I got Border Town 2, and I've decided I don't think I like this comic very much.
Oh, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, here's let me go to
what got you?
one of my go-tos of least favorite dialogue in storytelling. When you're supposed to have grounded, relatable characters, and two characters run into each other, and then one's like, I guess I'm just tired of shit happening to me. Like I exist in the margins of my own story. And the girl responds, like the trajectory of your life was decided for you hundreds of years before you were born. Ooh. A writer definitely wrote that. And probably felt pretty cool when he did.
So that was your favorite part.
Yeah. And I just don't, a lot of that, like, so on the cover it says, Border Town may be the most sharply satirical work that Vertigo Comics has published since Preacher, which I'm going to look up satirical because that makes me question my knowledge of what that word means.
I didn't find it to be satire.
I found it to be very on the nose about basically everything. Like there's not like every white person's a Nazi. Like it's not. There's nothing subtle about this comic, which isn't necessarily a problem. I don't think there's anything subtle about Cosmic Ghost Rider.
No.
But like when you're trying to make a message comic, a little goes a long way.
I will say.
Art's
the reason why I'm going to be picking this up more is because of this exact frame. It's when you have
all the monsters.
Oh my god! I know. So cool. When I was popped on Hyper Heroes, Hector had read this early, so he was mentioning some of the people that you were going to see. La Lorena, El Cucue, which I was like, wait. I feel like I know what that is. What is that one? And it's like that there isn't like a shape to it. And like I love all the designs of all these monsters. They're so cool. Look at that. You probably can't tell because the stream, but we're just pretend like you can. And now they've got their own Chupacabra shape-shifting friend to play around with, huh?
So satire is the use of irony, sarcasm, ridicule, or the like in exposing, denouncing, or deriding vice and folly. So it is satire, but I wouldn't call it sharp satire. It's very blunt instrument satire. Everything is what it is on its face.
Yeah. And I'm fine with it right now. So
okay.
I'm going to be picking it up more. I'm bummed that you don't like it, but that's okay.
Art's beautiful. I like the idea behind it. I wish I liked it more.
Did you, by the way, there's another comic underneath your Border Town. Did you read that?
No, I didn't.
Cool. We don't need to talk about that.
Okay.
It came with, when we saw Venom.
We got a Venom. But you flip through it, and it's definitely a scene from the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically a sum up of the movie, and it's like, but I got this for seeing the movie.
Yeah, don't make me read this.
Yeah, and all these tie-in comics always have like the cheapest artist they can get.
It's not great. And the dialogue somehow isn't what's in the movie, but it's not very good. But for DC, I picked up a couple books. I picked up Deathstroke because now he's in Arkham Asylum. I think that's pretty interesting.
Cool.
Super Sons, haven't read it yet. I'm excited. Batman, they're doing a story with KG Beast, which is really cool.
Cool.
And it's definitely sad.
So did you pick up Nightwing and are following all what's going on with him?
No. Right. I don't know if it ties in specifically. This probably does.
Because he got shot in the head. Oh, cool. It's very much tied into what's going on in Batman.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
all right, cool.
Yeah. Then I picked up Justice League, which I talked about a little bit. This one's I just kind of pick up because there's enough in it that I do like.
Yeah, I keep telling myself I'm done with it, and then I see that Jorge Jimenez art, and I'm like, oh, son of a bitch.
You want to sum up with this, or you're going to read it?
Yeah, I am going to read it. I picked it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't want to.
Am I going to like it anymore?
No.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
You'll like parts of it. You'll be like, cool. Oh, this is really interesting. That's got.
I like
Snyder.
the idea of seeing more of the Hall of Justice because it sounds like they're doing cool things with it.
Yeah, and then you get a little bit more of the mystery of the totality, and you're like, still don't know what this all means.
It is interesting reading Justice League and then reading an actual Grant Morrison book, and you realize the difference is. Nah, that's mean. There's no way to not say that's not mean. It's tough to mimic somebody like Grant Morrison because he's even on a book like Wonder Woman Earth 1 Volume 2 that feels a little bit incomplete because it's a cliffhanger. The ideas in it are so so smart. Like whether you agree with them or not, it's such a like I've never even once considered Wonder Woman in that way. And you always get stuff like that. Like there's such a like you're uncovering things. It always feels like you're finding something new and interesting, and it's a hard skill for others to imitate.
Well, I also picked up The Dreaming. That's another Vertigo book that they're doing. It's
That's
really
issue 2?
good. Yeah, it's issue 3. Because
Nice.
issue 2, or is it issue 2? Wow, it is. There's been 3 stories, but it's issue 2.
because
this
of the-
one is centered on the Pumpkinhead
Nice.
man, and how he's just not having it. He's not having it
just
at all.
not having it.
And one of these cool elements that they introduce is that when people have dreams where they know they're in a dream, it's kind of a mess for people in the dreaming because it's like, oh god damn it, we had to like cover it up. It's like, oh, you can do whatever you want, like, but just don't come in here, don't come into the dreaming, because now you know where the borders of the dream are, and you could come out of it. But also, they said like more recently, like if someone like ODs or if someone's like near death, they can kind of start to like their dreams become more vivid before they die, and they can kind of come over to, and it's like, no, we still don't want you in here because it just kind of messes everything up. And those like weird little doe people that like popped out of nowhere, like they're starting to like learn how to talk, and they're like using them for work because they're really good at what, like, you just give them a task, they're good at it, and they kind of just do it without thinking. But I want to show you, like, this is one of the dreams of someone waking up, which is great. Some amazing art. All bad dream ideas go into this little case.
Nice.
And the art in this book is so good, and I really like the way they bring out characters. You get an origin for the Pumpkinhead gentleman, and also our main character, what was her name again, the woman who's like a mystery. She has like these moments where she transforms into a huge fucking monster, and you're like,
nice,
what's your deal? And now she, I believe, is getting asked to go look for Morpheus, Daniel. And also I read the Book of Secrets one that came out like last week, the one with the voodoo one, and at the end the surprise twist was that the voodoo world, that kind of realm of mystery and gods and dreams and whatnot, fell into the dreaming because there's a lot of problems, and now that happened in here, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go pick up that other damn book, so better not be important to what's happening in this story. But I really like it, and you can see a character spiraling who just wants to be good, and also it's like he always says like something stinks, there's like a rot, but also he's a pumpkin, so he's starting to rot a little bit on his face, and you're like, uh-oh, you might be the problem too. And I like that there's like subtle stuff like that. And it's really really well written, and I like the weirdness of it. But besides that, I think, is there any other DC book? Oh, Green Lantern's last one. That's in Odyssey they mentioned that Simon and Jessica aren't partners anymore, so is Green Lanterns just going to be a Green Lanterns book, not Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, but just all Green Lanterns?
All just becoming Green. I think it's becoming the one Green Lantern Hal Jordan book.
I don't like that, because I liked Simon and Jessica being like, just don't, there's no mess. The only time when they brought in the other Green Lanterns was when they were like, you guys never got trained, right? You never ever got proper trained to be a cop. So they had to, Jessica was paired up with Guy, and Simon was paired up with Kyle, and it was a really cool, basically Simon was so stuck up, or not stuck up, but just like, he got to stick up his ass, and he's like, he likes doing things a certain way, and Kyle's like, no, you have to be on your toes. You can't rely on your gun, you can't use that, like, you actually need to believe in yourself. And with Jessica, Guy just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and she ends up like clocking him in the face. And
classic, because that's what he exists to do.
And at the cover for that issue, it's Sam Humphries when he wrote it. You get Simon in the background going, during the punch. It's a good comic overall. There's some good books in DC, and I'm excited to read Wonder Woman next week. But let's close out with indie.
So speaking of Sam Humphries, he's got a new book at Image called Blackbird. And all due respect to him, the real selling point on this book has to be and I think he would agree with this, is Jen Bartel's art. It's such a beautiful book.
And in the book itself, it does kind of, like, you can see that, like, sometimes you got to hurry a little bit to finish something. You don't get the finish that a lot of covers have throughout the entire issue, but the art is still amazing. So you get a woman who's interested in the occult and witches and the underground, darker underbelly of Los Angeles, and there's a mystery. So far, I wasn't totally pulled into it, I'll be honest. How about you?
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I think the art is a major fun selling point. I think the tone is interesting. I don't know where it's going to go. So it could go in some interesting directions.
If you're a fan of witches and the occult, but also someone kind of pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, and there's a kind of a whole dealing with addiction and other things like that, and trauma, and maybe a broken family. There's a lot of cool elements in there that could build up to a really cool story. Also, the main character, like her design as a character is really beautiful. I love her hair, and I don't know, everything about her is interesting. And I mean,
absolutely.
I just don't know if the story as a whole totally got me sucked into it.
Got you hooked. So also after a long hiatus, the Umbrella Academy is back with volume 3 called Hotel Oblivion. And unfortunately, Gabriel Ba, it said, I heard something that Gabriel Ba was not on this book, but he is listed in the credits. So maybe he helped do layouts or whatever. But this is Gerard Way, who you people probably most recently know from kind of headlining the Young Animal imprint and writing Doom Patrol. I love the Umbrella Academy, and it's funny. It's been so long since Volume 2. I'd forgotten, like I knew I loved it, but I'd forgotten why until I was reading this comic. And the characters are so interesting, and the art style so, because even if it's not Gabriel Ba and all the art, there's a lot that homages, that aligns with his style. It's just a really fun, beautiful, inventive book. And I really, like, it's definitely weird, but I love the ideas it introduces. I love the stuff it explores. It makes me want to go back and revisit the first 2 volumes again. And it makes me a little bummed. This is probably unfair. It makes me a little bummed about the live action series because I don't know. When I read this comic, I feel like I see a stop motion animated movie, or I see something animated in the vein of Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, something like more creative, inventive, new than just, hey, let's just cast this actress to play this role and call it a day. You know what I mean? So hopefully it's able to capture the imagination of this book. But the good news is I still get these amazing comics, and hopefully we'll be getting more of them past this one. So I don't know, highly recommend it. And if you don't know anything about Umbrella Academy, pick up the first 2 volumes. They're super quick reads, and they're amazing.
I read the first volume because it was on Comixology Unlimited. So if you use that, you could You could check it out for not free, but with the subscription.
Yeah.
It didn't quite grab me, but I'm glad that you're excited that your series is back. For me, there's a new issue of my all-time favorite series, and that's Giant Days, and I'm saving it as a little